Hello, I can't work out if I'm early or late. And of course, oh my goodness, we had a holiday yesterday, or President's Day yesterday, so it's actually Tuesday and not Monday, which throws us all into array, because that's what happens. Let's set the whole week off wrong. Anyway, Tuesday today, I didn't have a job, and Janine did down in South Carolina, so I think that went very well. I came and fed the barn this morning, watered the barn, made sure everybody had hay, and then went to Meredith because there's lots of tidying up needing done there, and I'm trying to get ahead of the game. I don't know why I bother. Anyway, Kate's got that all organised, and I'm just coming in and making a mess. So I'll get banned from there sooner rather than later, I think. It's getting a bit warmer, which you know what that means. Slushy, wet, slippy stuff and mud. So it's been really quite pleasant. We just need to get the snow a little bit lower, not slower, lower. I'm so tired. Lower, and then everybody can go out in their respective paddocks, and none of this having to run around in the aisle and in the barn, because that just makes for extra tidy up, I will say. And everybody's doing really very well. We have been watching Boone on Meredith, who starts off in the left-hand paddock, which is his paddock that he shares with Tenny. And then you turn around and he's in the right-hand sheep paddock with the mules and Rocco the donkeys. So, yeah, he's decided that he's a show-jumping pony, and even though he most definitely is not, and is jumping the middle fence. We're just grateful at the moment that he is jumping the middle fence into the other paddock and not out of the paddock in its entirety, because that would be super fun. So, lots going on that just I think signals that the weather's getting that little bit better, and makes so much more work. Janine appears to be doing really well with Percy, her pig. Carleen is going to be very disappointed if she does not bring Percy back, because she's making plans for where she's putting the pig. She's just had her Chinese evening meal delivered. Uber arrived with that just as I was walking down the driveway, which is lovely. So she'll be having her very favourite Chinese dishes as we speak. And then, oh goodness, and then I'm going to go and clean up the barn, because that's what we do in the evening. So much fun. And tomorrow there's a job, I think it's New Horizons. I can't remember if I've been there since Janine's been away at all. And then there's a job in Newburyport on Friday. Obviously there is court on Thursday, and I think my role is driving Carleen to court, wherever the court may be. And I'm not 100% sure where it is, but we'll get that sorted out before Thursday. Otherwise, we'll be circumnavigating the courts in the region. That won't be fun. So, it's been busy. Everybody's busy. The guinea hens are still on top of the nut house. I don't know what to do with them because they are so noisy. I'm surprised there aren't neighbours with guns taking pot shots at them, because they just moan so much. Oh my goodness. And Janine said that the person that she had she picked up the pig from, they had peacocks coming in the following week. And I think that would just be the nail in the coffin. Because these guinea hens, honest to goodness, they are so loud, and they're just like, they've just constantly got something to say. It's exhausting. So, yeah, so that was fun. I had my Miss Annie Banani on Meredith with me this morning. We were running around trying to clear things up in the snow. She loves it. I'm not quite so keen. And I don't think of anything exciting that happened over the weekend. Oh, it was my birthday and my wedding anniversary and and Valentine's Day, and I did not one single thing for that at all. But thank you so very much for the lovely cards and the birthday wishes and the well wishes. So that was terribly kind of you. That's that done for another year. Whew. And Nick made it home on Friday earlier than we were expecting, which was lovely. He said it was really quite interesting. He said that when he flew out to California and he goes into San Francisco because he was in Palo Alto, he said that the return flight was actually an hour and a half faster because of a trailing wind. I was like, ooh, there you go. So much faster coming home. So that was good. And he came back and he gave me a hand over the weekend, which is always much appreciated. It is, of course, the school holiday week here in Massachusetts at the moment. So there's lots of kids kicking around left, right and centre, which is always super fun. And what else is going on? Miss Jemmy, I leave her out, even if I'm not going to be in the barn. I leave her out in the aisle. She has a bucket of water and the hay from the hay stall. And when I come back, she's lying asleep in the hay stall. It's really funny. I think she's just quite happy. She goes down, has a little look at the donkeys, who don't want to play with her because they're not very sociable at the moment. Then she goes and has something to snack on. Then she goes and has some water and hay, and then she goes and lies down and makes herself a wee bed in the hay. And that wee bed of hay, what I do is I scoop it up and I chuck it over for her to sleep on at night time. That keeps her cozy and munching, so she's quite happy. She's a lovely wee thing. And the goats yesterday, I think, were just so badly behaved. The goats and Elvis. And in fact, it wasn't Blossom and Petal, it was Milo, Melvin and Elvis who were so naughty. They went into the duck house yesterday and they ate all the duck food. Not only did they eat all the duck food, they wouldn't come out. They were so badly behaved. I was chasing the three of them round the inside of the duck house and they were all just misbehaving. So they were in the bad books. Very much in the bad books. So I eventually got them back into the barn. But oh my goodness, I could have used my bad language very muchly. They were absolutely awful. It was like herding frogs. They were all over the place. Even Elvis, he was super fast moving in a, it's not a big barn, the duck barn. Oof. But Jemmy and the Blossom and Petal, they were not misbehaving, not at all. It was the three boys that were being very badly behaved. So that was super fun yesterday. And I think my hay bag system of putting out whole bale bags of hay is working quite nicely, because I'm getting nearly a day and a half out of them. Definitely a day, which is lovely, because if I put them up in the evening, it means I don't have to replace them in the morning. So that saves quite a bit of time and works really quite nicely. So that's a bit of an improvement, although I'll tell you, the whole bales are really quite heavy. I'm getting to that stage where I'm feeling very weary, very old, but we'll get there. And it's been a bit cloudy the last few days. It's one thing when it's just a bit cold, when it is nice and bright and sunny, but it's not been very bright the last few days. Anyway, that much is just part and parcel of getting towards spring. I'm all over the place. Carlene went on the job yesterday with Judy, which was absolutely super. They went to a job in Salem, and although Carlene apparently Judy dropped Carlene off, Carlene wandered in, went to the wrong place with Sizzle and Larky, and the gentleman told her to leave. She wasn't allowed in with the dogs, so Judy had to go and retrieve them and take them to where they were supposed to be. I think that Sizzle made it into the car. It was tricky for Sizzle, but she did it, so that was good. And I had the little puppy in the barn for a period of time with all her energy, and then she went home last night with Judy, which was lovely. Judy's husband brought Willow back today, and she'll be with us until Judy returns, which I think will be next week. She has her brother's memorial in Minnesota, so that's a really big thing in her life. So that's great that she's getting to go and do that. And then the exciting news is, as I'm sure Janine has said, is that Judy, when she comes back, I'm not quite sure of the date, but she is going to be taking Carleen down to visit with Janine in South Carolina, which will be lovely, because I presume that Carleen will then be able to do all the mail chats, which is a lovely treat for everyone. And I think she'll probably quite enjoy the warmer weather and the fact that she can get moving far more freely than she can actually up here. So that's absolutely super. Although I will say, on Monday morning, she had Judy accompany her over to the ICU so she could get out of the house and in there to go and look at the kennels in there. So she's obviously keen to get herself back up on her feet and out and about, which is really good news. And so that means I think you're going to have a very big treat, because I think Betsy Frost will be down with Janine, and so there'll be a whole big gang of people down in South Carolina. So that's going to be really nice. We'll be having a party in South Carolina, and they might not come back. So that's good. That's something to look forward to. And I better do the questions. There was no parcels, and there was no letters, I don't think. And but I'll get these questions if there are any here. Oh, thank you, Hilda, and I'm glad to see that you're back. That's good news. Hello, Carol. What? Is it snow in the weather map for here for the next 5 days? Is that your map or my map? Oh, I haven't looked at my map. Oh my, don't say things like that. You need to clarify that. I could be having a little bit of a panic. We had a tiny little touch of snow this morning. Hi, Kai. Yes, Susan, there is court this week. It is on Thursday. Oh, yes. Happy New Year indeed. Happy Chinese New Year. What is it? Is the year of the fiery horse or something like that? I'm not sure. Well, you're lucky, because Wanda will be doing mail chat when Carlina's down there. Yes, Jemmy always dines in the hall, and the reason she dines in the hall, or the aisle shall we say, is because Elvis eats her dinner otherwise, and she doesn't get her full dinner. So I will also say she takes forever to eat. She's a very slow eater. So I pop her out in the hall, and she just wanders around and she eats her dinner at her leisure. And I'm about to start, once I rehydrate their dinner, I'm about to start their evening meal. So yeah, it's just we just eat all the time here. But that's going to be, once the weather temperatures start to rise, that's going to scale back, because one of the reasons we've been eating quite so much is to make sure that everybody stays super hydrated and super warm. And as the weather isn't quite as chilly, then we can start to scale back on the sheer volume of food that we have eaten. And in fact, Janine said to me, she said, we've spent over $1,000 between the two barns, between Meredith and here this month. And the reason it's been so high is because everybody's inside. So even in Meredith, where there are massive paddocks, like the sheep barn, which takes a couple of bales of shavings. Everybody has been inside, so that's 2 mules, a donkey, and all of the sheep, and it just makes the barn exceptionally dirty. So we clean it. It's actually been stripped out nearly on a daily basis at the moment, and the reason is the paddocks. There's still about 1.5 to 2 foot of snow in the paddocks, and the animals haven't made tracks in it, nor are they interested in making tracks in it. So they come to the head of the barn and then they go back inside. So they come, have a look and see what's going on outside and go, thanks, not really today. And then they wander back in. So the barns are being very heavily used. So, and it's the same here, you know, the animals, we have started opening up the door from Elvis's stall outside, and they do go in and out. They're not particularly keen to be spending the whole day outside. The goat stall has been opened onto Chaos Hill, and the only goat I think that went out was actually Blossom, and she went out and then came back in again. So that's not really in use, but it will be much easier both on the inside of the barn in the stalls, and also outside when everybody's got free access to go and wander. Takes a lot of the wriggles out. The donkeys do have access to the back, but they come and go, and sometimes they're a bit more sprightly than others. The bunnies are doing very well. The female bunny is just so much larger than Madeline. She's just so much larger than Moose. I'm keeping an eye on her. I don't see anything particularly imminent with her at all. And they've got a really enormous stall, and they've got, you know, things to jump on, things to go under. They've got big straw piles to bury into, and they seem quite happy. So it is chilly though. So yeah, they're doing well though. No, I was being facetious, because I'm telling you, these guinea hens, I will say, they are so noisy. I can put up with them and I don't really hear them, but I'm very conscious that we do have neighbours, and I have tried, and Nick and I have both tried to get them off the roof, and they're just not, they're very fast, and you know, you think you've got them moved, and then they go up in the air and then they land back down on the roof. They did go to the tree once, which I thought was quite good, but then they went back to the roof in the evening. So we used to live inside with the chickens, not now. Oh dear. Nick has not had a chance to do anything, and he was on a conference call at 9:30 on Saturday night. It's bedlam, so I'm lucky if I get him down here to give me a little hand. That's what he does for his downtime. He comes and helps me in a barn somewhere. He's working for 2 different companies at the moment, and there's an awful lot going back and forward, and it's always like that when you start new projects. There's a massive settling in period, and you know, he's in the middle of that right now, but shouldn't complain. Yeah, I think that the other rabbit, she will be going out on jobs. We started with Moose. Traditionally, male rabbits are friendlier, and that's what we've been told anyway. And he definitely is so relaxed. You know, he just flops. He's like a big jelly. He spreads out in the pram on the jobs. And the one day that I thought I was going to take her, I went to lift her up, and she actually nipped me. She wasn't exceptionally excited at the process of being put into the bag, and I thought, you know what, there's no point stressing her out, leave her here. I'd actually sit on a hay bale in the rabbit stall with them. I'm working up to taking a brush through Moose because he is still so matted, And but I do sit in there, and she comes up, and she's very friendly, and but I think once I really get going with grooming with them, I hand feed them the treats that people send in, so they are lovely. So I think she will be good on jobs as well. That little piglet really is adorable, yes. Oh no, Karen, you're asking me really tricky questions. How many wonderful years from my anniversary? Lots. More than I can count, I think I have to say. Because then I'd have to remember what year I got married in, wouldn't I? It's terrible. Oh, don't ask me anything about days, dates, numbers, time. Oh, I'm useless. I think Janine's thinking about doing that actually, Fernanda. Because Janine is the author in between all of us. The fire horse, that's what it is. Judy will be back next week. I think she'll be back on Monday, I think. I'm not 100% sure. And then that's her really back in situ for quite some time. So that will be just lovely. Although it was lovely seeing her on Monday. Oh, I know Aberdeenshire. My brother used to live in Aberdeen for a while. He was working up there for a period of time when we used to go and visit. And in fact, it wasn't you I was talking to. It was my friend Kirsty, and she lives in London. And I was speaking with her at the weekend, and we were actually just talking about Aberdeenshire, because I said that if there was anywhere, if I went back to Scotland, I would probably love to go up that way, sort of like Nairn, Inverness, Tain, Nairn, that sort of area. And I said something about Aberdeenshire, and she said, she said, you've been to Aberdeenshire? I said, yeah. I said, I have. And I said, it was ridiculous, because one of the things I was very excited is there's a sea mist, and they call it the Har. And it just comes, obviously when the temperatures on the land and the air and the pressure, etc., are right, this massively thick sea mist rolls off the water, and it just hangs over the land, and it's really impenetrable. So when we were driving, we had the two children in the back of the car, and we were driving up, and I said to Nick, I said, well, this is the sort of time of year when you get a lot of Har, hanging around. And he's like, really? So we were being very knowledgeable and super intelligent, and driving up in the dark, I might add. And then we got to the stage. He had the windscreen wipers going on the car, and we just couldn't see out of the windscreen. And he's like, I think this is this Har. And I'm like, yeah, I think it is. It's really awful. I said, my goodness. I said, it must cause so many accidents. So we were crawling along. And he's like, I think we might have to pull over. I just can't see where we're going. And all these other cars were driving at the speed limit or above. And we're thinking, how can they drive like this? This is absolutely bizarre. And then we realised that if you put the demister on in the car, that the car windscreen, you could actually see out of it, no problem at all. It was just the fact that we were all steamed up because we were breathing in the car. Nothing to do with the Har whatsoever. So anyway, so that was us totally and utterly with egg on our face and felt very stupid. But we went to a wedding on Shetland. My friend got married on Wolseley, which is one of the islands of Shetland, and you fly out from Aberdeen airport to Sombra Head, and Sombra Head is where all the puffins live on Shetland. And we were actually delayed coming out of Aberdeen because the Har was so heavy that the plane in Aberdeen couldn't take off. And then when we were coming back from Sombra Head, which is on the main island in Shetland, when we were coming back, we stayed in a hotel because we had a very early morning flight, and we had Callum with us, our son, and so we decided to stay at the Sombra Head Hotel. And we got up in the morning in time for the flight, and we had breakfast, and we were downstairs in the dining room having breakfast, and they said, "Oh, you're too early." And I said, no, the flight's at such a... No. He said, you're not going to get out. He said, the pilots and the crew aren't up. He said, if the pilots and the crew aren't up, you're not going anywhere. I said, but the flight's at... And he said, yeah. He said, but look outside. He said, can you see anything? And I'm like, good point. So we were very late leaving Shetland as well to get back home, because this HAR is really quite a serious business. So yeah, so that's me and my Aberdeenshire stories. But yes, it is lovely up there. It's quite rural. I think it used to be very prosperous because the oil industry was based out of Aberdeen, and I think that's probably, like many things, has been decreasing over the years and decades. Yeah, she is up and walking about. I don't know. I think that's a question, Karen, you'll have to ask Janine, because it would be Sizzle that's left behind, and if Judy's away, then Willow would be away as well. So I'm sure Janine and whoever have got that under control. Actually, I'll have you know, Julie, I have managed to get the ducks in at night every time, for all the days that Nick was away. So there, it's the guinea hens I can't. Yes, I have had the ducks in. I leave the light on, so what I do is I wait till it gets dark. I put the light on in the duck house, and they all come waddling in. I do have to round them up because they're not very fast, and some of them go in the door while the ones are coming out the door. So yes, it does take a little while, but I have been very careful because there's absolutely no way I would take any risks with those ducks when Nick's not at home. Otherwise, I would never ever be trusted with anything again. And he's still getting the ducks in, I think. I'm off duck duty. How do you get onto mail chat? Well, this is mail chat just now, so it's on here until the camera's fixed, and we'll take it from there. Oh, it's Facebook, sorry, that's what you were asking. I don't know why anybody asks me technological questions. Ooh. Oh, she's on Facebook, but she only sees posts. Right, that's a tricky one. Oh, is it needing? Yeah. Tom has made a total and utter full recovery. Very bizarre. He does still have very heavy breathing, but I have tried to cut down on his food. I think one of the things I have been really shocked with is the fact that these animals go through, between the ducks, the 3 turkeys in here and the 2 chickens in here, they are going through a bag of food about every 3 days. I think we're feeding the barn sparrows, quite frankly. But one of the things I'm trying to do is to make sure that the Tom turkey doesn't overeat, because one of the problems is he's obviously a meat breed, and I'm trying to keep him as fit and trim. So I do let him out, and he does strut up and down the aisle, and then he goes back in and has a wee rest. So I'm just trying to keep him moving. He does sound very out of breath when he moves. So I'm very conscious of that. So I'm trying to cut down on the food. He's got his fresh water with his vitamins and minerals in it. He's on poultry cell. He was on, and that's what I was injecting him with. Not injecting not intramuscular, but into his mouth, avoiding his breathing area down the side. And I think that's one of the things that just sort of like gave him a good shake up, and he came back. So I'm trying to get him fit and healthy, and hopefully living a bit longer, because he is super fun. I love it when he goes and he squares up to the donkeys through the fence, and then the donkeys come wandering over, and he's like, "Nothing to see, excuse me, I'm off." So he is lovely. So I'm absolutely delighted that he's not leaving this mortal coil at this precise moment in time. No. And the thing is, I'm wondering if, because this is, everybody goes on about breeding like rabbits. So we still have a male and female bunny, and as far as I'm aware, neither of them are fixed. I do worry slightly about Moose. So when Moose came into us, he was really pretty matted. He's not quite in the condition that I would hope for. And he is very skeletal. Now, he's on a build-up diet, and he is fed, as much in the way of build-up that I possibly can to try and help him put on a little bit of weight. Madeline is in super condition. Her coat is beautiful. She is lovely. He is not. He is. I just feel that he's not quite as healthy as she is, and he's definitely struggling to put on weight. There doesn't appear to be anything wrong with him. I think he's just going to take a little while to turn the corner. He is gaining weight, and he's happy in himself. But I think he's the one that's just going to take that little bit longer to get back into good condition. And I also wondered whether or not female rabbits who live outside are actually quite sensible and choose not to have a litter of kits when the weather is very cold. Because I do know that some animals, they don't really come into season properly unless it's the correct time of year. So maybe that's something similar, because these rabbits have always lived outside. And in fact, they lived in a Cajun run that was, surrounded by snow. So they've definitely always been outside rabbits. In fact, probably what they've got at the moment is far more sheltered than where they came from. They do use a lot of shires at the end of the town names. Oh, I wonder, Hilda, if that was there's a Scotsman train, and then there's another, it's like the Orient Express sort of train. It's all very, very beautiful and antique and just gorgeous. So there's a lot of these sorts of train trips that do go through Scotland. I know, people stop me, and when they say to me, "Are you from Scotland?" And I say, "Yes, I am." And they say, "Oh, you must have watched Outlander." I've never seen it. Never seen it. But then again, I don't actually watch television, so that could actually be the problem, and people are always quite horrified. Oh dear. Yes, done and dusted. That means it's finished. Done and dusted. Ah, yes, tomorrow's mail chat will be from Aiken. Thank you, Linda. Well done. Now you just need to remind Janine. That would be much appreciated. Moose is the male rabbit. That's his name. It's Madeline and Moose. Moose. Well, Shire is just a sort of area, you know, in the Shires. It's like you have Aberdeenshire, and that's the sort of like Aberdeen area, and Leicestershire. There's all sorts of areas. I think it used to be very traditional to put Shire on the end of it. I'm not really very sure. I think a lot of the places have, you know, in modern times are beginning to drop the Shire part. Maybe to make it easier, I don't know. Yeah, that might be that train might have been the Flying Scotsman. That could have been it. Well, it must have been good if you're on your 10th watching of it. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I'm going to go and play in the barns, probably with my naughty goats, because they are so naughty, little stinkers. And then I'll see you on Thursday, because Wednesday, see, I'm all out of sync with my days here. And then, because Janine will be on MailChat tomorrow, which is just lovely. Okay, so I will see you all later on. Have a lovely evening, and thank you so very much for joining me. Night, night.